Alright, you're welcome to my vlog. My name is King Ife. So, today I'll be talking about something really entirely different from what I've always talked about. And possibly, perhaps because a lot of people have asked me to continue talking about it because they really would like to learn a lot. I've talked about several things on Facebook and on YouTube, and uh, the reply that I get mostly are people who would really love to learn how to speak perfect English. And when they inbox me, I just don't know how I'm going to start talking to them, or maybe recording videos of myself and sending to them so that they can learn, or maybe perhaps get the differences in the different dialects of English. So I purposely made a video today, and of course you know that some of you, if you've known me for the past how many years since I've been young, I've not really had a very consistent British accent because I just haven't really put my mind into it. Not that I don't know it, but I just figure that it's a lot harder for me to speak, and it requires a lot of energy to speak it. And here in Nigeria, people want all of us to speak the British English. Yes, because they say British people colonized us, and so you have to speak British English. But I also figure that as people strive to speak British English, they don't always get it 100% correct because of the infiltrations of certain pronunciations borrowed from the American accent, and so their pronunciation becomes terribly flawed. And I'm not even talking about the ones that have the West African the vowel sounds, uh, what we call phonological processes, the phonological the phonological processes. Sorry, that they get to because of the particular area you come from. The vowel systems in your language also affect you when you're speaking British English. So these are the things we'll be talking about. We'll be looking at how to correct these little shall I say, shortcomings in speaking English language. So first and foremost, we have to look at how to pronounce certain words. Normally, the word can, when it's in the negative aspect of it, it becomes can't. So you get to hear, if you want to sound British, you get to hear a lot of people say, I just can't do this. I can't say that. Well, but what it's more obtainable when you hear a lot of Nigerians talk, especially ladies in school who, due to years of watching American movies, like the Hollywood movies, you tend to hear a lot of, I can't do this. Really, that's American English. So correct yourself, it's can't. Then you have another word here, privacy. Now, you obviously understand what privacy means. Privacy, like you're invading somebody's privacy. Now, privacy is the correct way to pronounce the word privacy. So now, uh, the other way the Americans pronounce privacy is privacy. And of course, privacy is what a lot of Nigerians say the word for. So if you want to sound British, try to make sure you pronounce that word privacy as privacy. So you will be 100% correct in that one. So another word is, do you remember the word vase of flour? Vase of flour? Now, if you've managed to call that vase, like that clay stuff, that molded pot, they use clay to mold it and they call it vase. So British people don't call it vase. British people call it vase, a vase of flour. So if you want to sound correct and be British, say vase of flour. Now the other one, which I know I haven't actually heard anyone say it correctly here, it's either the stress of the word is utterly wrong, or maybe the pronunciation is more American. So people say advertisement, advertisement. Now that's what you get to hear here in Nigeria, advertisement. But that's not the way British people call the word. The word is called advertisement. Advertisement. So when you hear an advertisement on television or on radio, you just know it's an advertisement and not an advertisement. So, but if you want to sound more American, you have to say advertisement, really, and make sure you put the R sound on it. Advertisement. That's how you sound American. Now the next word is tomato. Tomato is how the British people call it. They say tomatoes, Americans say tomatoes. And if you want to say it in correctly in American accent, you have to say tomatoes. They use the alveolar tap at the end of it, tomatoes. So I don't know whether you know what the alveolar tap means, but the alveolar tap sounds more like a D, but a short D, but it sounds more like tomatoes. So that's it. And the other one is what we call pomade. Now, pomade is the American pronunciation of that word pomade that you rub on your hair, especially guys, to make your hair shiny. I haven't put pomade on my head. Yeah, so that's how British people call it. British people say pomade. They don't say pomade. Now they say pomade and sometimes they say pomade, but mostly sounding British say pomade. Now the other word is uh, advantage. People say advantage. Here in Nigeria, I've never really heard anyone say advantage. They say advantage. And advantage is the American pronunciation, and advantage is the British pronunciation. Say advantage. Advantage, not advantage. So the other one is, how do you say, okay, schedule. Schedule, it's not British. Schedule is American English. Now, schedule is British. We have to schedule. And then, of course, some people get the stress wrong. They say schedule. Now, schedule is really wrong. The stress is entirely wrong. So you say schedule. Schedule, that means the stress is at the shed. And so you say schedule. And you perfectly correct. We have to schedule the meeting for 12 o'clock, okay? So that's how you sound British. Now another word is the word lingerie, of course. Lingerie. They're wearing beautiful lingerie. So now the truth of the matter is lingerie is not British. Lingerie is American. So if you want to sound British, you have to say lingerie. 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 That's how they call lingerie. So now the other one is laboratory. Now, laboratory is American pronunciation for a laboratory. Laboratory is the British pronunciation. So if you want to say laboratory and not laboratory. Of course, but if you hear someone who's got the American accent, he probably would say laboratory. So all I'm saying is if you're sticking to one, just make sure you stick to one, and not when you're speaking a whole lot of combined accent and you want some other person to speak the correct accent, and where you're not speaking the correct accent. So another word is library. Library is how an American would pronounce the word library. Library is the British way of pronouncing it. They say library, and sometimes they say library, and not library. Okay, and the last one, before the final one that I'm going to mention now, it's uh, lieutenant. Lieutenant, of course, when you hear that, you already know lieutenant, Emeka, lieutenant this, lieutenant that. That's more like a rank in the Navy, a rank in the Army. So lieutenant, it's a it's an American way of pronouncing lieutenant. So the British people say lieutenant, lieutenant. So you want to sound like a British person, you say lieutenant and not lieutenant. Lieutenant is it's not a correct stress of the word. It's lieutenant. So when you say lieutenant, that means you've got the pronunciation correctly. And finally, the last one I'm going to say is the word penchant. You have a penchant for something. When you have a penchant for singing, you have a penchant for talking, you have a penchant for something. Now penchant is how British people call it. Now the American people say penchant. I have a penchant for this, I have a penchant for that. So this is where I'm going to end this video, and make sure this is the much I can give you for today. So probably another day I'm going to look up some other words, and do invite your friends to come and to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that they can learn how to speak their most revered. Thank you so much.